Hello. So before we get into the video, I just wanted to say a very quick Happy New Year to all of you. This is the first video that I'm posting in 2020, which is kind of crazy to say, and I just wanted to give another thank you again for all of the love and support that I've gotten in 2019. My channel has grown so much more than I could have ever expected or dreamed of in 2019, and I'm still super thankful, and I'm really excited to be making content for you in 2020. Speaking of, I mentioned this in my last video, but in case you missed that one, I would highly recommend visiting my Instagram page if you like my videos even a little bit. On my Instagram page, there's a story highlights of like YouTube video suggestions, and so if you have a video request or have an idea or anything like that, go over there and suggest it over there. Over the next few days, I'm going to be looking over there a lot and writing down a bunch of suggestions, and even though I'm going to be returning there in the future, and every now and again peeking in to see if there's any new suggestions, now would be an excellent time to do that. So I would highly recommend doing that. I would love to hear what kind of stuff you guys want to see from me. Happy New Year again, and let's get to the video. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Hope you're doing well. So last year I started off the year by drawing a Meet the Artist thing because I got a lot of subscribers and I thought that it would be a great way to introduce myself to everyone new there because that was my first time having like a significantly large audience. And the same thing has happened again. I've gotten a lot more subscribers over the past year than I thought I could get, so I thought it would be a great idea to do this again. And also I was thinking I should do this every single year because every single year I change a little bit as a person, which is just like, you know, I'd like to think that happens to everyone. And also my art has improved a lot, I think, and my art has changed a lot over the past year. And so I thought that every single year this would be a good way to kind of reintroduce me to you guys and to all of the new viewers that I'll be getting every year, and also kind of track my growth as an artist and look at all of the improvement I've made, or at least how my art has changed over the past year or so. So jumping right into it, I decided to record my thumbnailing process. I don't really do this a whole lot in my videos, but I do make thumbnails for pretty much every single finished drawing that you guys see on my channel, so I thought that it would be a good idea to record it this time. Let me know if this is something you want me to include in other videos. I just decided on a whim to record this one. Every single time I make thumbnails, I try and make at least 3 different ones, but this time I actually ended up liking the first one the best. That doesn't always happen. I usually like the second or third one best, but I don't know. I feel like the first one really captures like the kind of art that I make, I guess, and the type of poses that I generally make, so I decided to go with that one. But also for the boxes, I liked I believe it was the second one. I don't have this in front of me as I'm recording the audio, but I really liked the layout of the second thumbnail for the boxes, the one where it was like kind of vertical and then the 2 like longer rectangles on the top and the bottom. I really liked that idea, so I just brought that one over to the pose that I liked the best. And then I also just kind of shrunk it down and put it in the corner for me to look at a little bit as I was drawing the final one. So last year when I was making my Meet the Artist drawing, I kind of just read a lot of what I wrote down, which is stupid. I don't know why I did that, but yeah, I'm not gonna do that anymore. I'm going to be talking mostly about my art and my channel and whatnot. If you're curious about what my Meet the Artist video was like last year, I'll leave that up in the iCard for you, but warning, it was a year ago. My art has changed a lot, my videos have changed a lot, so I'm going to warn you now. Just proceed with caution. It's a little But yes, anyways, back to present day me. So if you're new here, hi, I'm Oliver, nice to meet you. And I draw mostly like original characters and stories. Ever since I was a kid, I've always loved creating my own characters and creating my own stories. I have a series on this channel where I talk about an OC of mine every single month. It's slowly coming to an end, but it's still there. And I have a lot of fun making him. You can probably tell by my art style that I do like anime. And I've liked that since I was a kid too. And I feel like the more I draw, my art is slowly getting away from the anime influence, but also at the same time I feel like there's always going to be a little bit of that there, just because it's had like a huge impact on me and my art and how I create characters and stories and stuff. Also a fact about me that I mention a lot, and you guys get upset with me over because it's not out yet, but I'm currently making a webcomic, and I stated it in my last video and I will state it again here. 2020 is the year it'll come out. I won't just keep mentioning it here and there. It's going to come out sometime this year. I don't have a release date yet, but I've decided I'm just gonna work my butt off, and it's gonna happen in 2020. So if you need a new webcomic to read, then stay tuned, I guess. I've gotten a lot of questions about it, as like what the story is going to be about and where I'm going to be posting it. And I have answers to those questions, but I also decided that closer to the release date of the comic, I'm going to make a video just stating everything that you need to know, like how the comic is going to be formatted, where you can read it, what it's about, and just any other thing that you need to know. Maybe do like a little Q&A about the webcomic, so you can stay tuned for that. And also, I consider myself to be more of a traditional artist, but also I've been doing a lot more digital art in like the past year, so I guess it's a little contradictory. So I've been drawing traditionally for as long as I can remember. Like, people ask me how long I've been drawing, and I either tell them 19 years because I'm 19, or I just tell them since I was very little, because it's true. I don't think that there was really a point in my life where I started taking art seriously, because I've always just fell in love with it, and that's always how I spent most of my time. And then when I was about 16, 17-ish, around there, I got my first drawing tablet, and since then I've just been like easing myself into digital art, and now digital art is something that I do fairly regularly. So there we go. And that's why I decided to draw this Meet the Artist drawing digitally, because I have been doing a lot in that, and I feel like my digital art has really been improving. And sometimes I feel like my digital art is better than my traditional art. I guess it depends on the piece, but yeah. Kind of talking a little bit more about this drawing, I don't think I had any like real struggles while making this one, and that's mostly just because I'm drawing myself. I've drawn myself quite a lot, and you might be able to notice that recently I've been using a little bit more stills in my video, like just the little drawings of me. So I've gotten a lot more experience in like drawing myself and coloring myself. So this is just like a nice, easy, laid-back thing to do. That's kind of another reason why I think it's a good way to start off the new year, because I'm just easing myself back into working. You may or may not know, I took like 2 weeks off for the holidays because I was traveling a lot, and then by the time I came back from my week vacation, I was just exhausted. I was just easing myself into working here and there, but I didn't want to overwhelm myself. So this was a great way to kind of get back into the swing of things. I do remember having a little bit of a difficult time with the foreshortening on the leg. That's still something I'm trying to improve on. I've definitely been getting better with it, but I think that this one, it's a little off. I think that the bottom half of the leg is just at a bit of a wrong angle, especially the shoe, but overall I'm really happy with the way that this one turned out. I think my favorite part about it was the clothes. I have really improved drawing clothes, and I'm really happy to finally like be happy with it, because like many artists, I think that that's something that I've struggled with a lot, but I'm super satisfied with that. In these Meet the Artist posts, people usually draw what's in their bag, but if you're like me, you don't really leave the house super often, so I don't really have a bag of things that I carry with me everywhere, so I just kind of drew things that I use often. I have my sketchbook that I made myself, and I'm very proud of. There's a video coming next week about how I made that. A lot of you have been asking for that, and it's coming out next week. Don't worry, I did not forget, and I'm not gonna leave you hanging. I will show you how I made this next week. I also drew my cat head coffee mug that I often have in videos. If you watch my sketch vlogs, then you'll probably notice that I drink out of that a lot. And I also spill coffee from it a lot. I also have my headphones because I listen to music quite often. I love music. It's one of my favorite things in the world. And then also my Nintendo Switch, because I have been playing a lot of Pokemon Sword and Shield. I'm not a huge video game person, but I would die for Pokemon.
I would die for
Pokemon.
I love it so much. So for what I wrote in the boxes, I know for a fact that there's some repeating stuff from last year, because those are just like the constant things that I like. But I didn't look at my old one. I didn't look at my 2019 Meet the Artist, just because, I don't know, I felt like it would be more of an authentic experience for all of us if I just focused on myself from this past year instead of looking at what I made last year, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I know that there are some commonalities, like I wrote that I like anime and cartoons, and I wrote that I like animals and stuff like that, but yeah, I just kind of focused on what I liked and disliked in the moment of me making this. Also, my height is still a mystery. Don't know that I am 19 currently, even though I sound like I'm 12. And yeah, I'm a guy, so Those are some commonly asked questions, I guess. I don't know. Also, before I forget, other commonly asked questions that I get. What drawing program do I use? Paint Tool SI. I use a Huion Canvas Pro 16. No, I don't post my art anywhere other than Instagram and YouTube. Sorry about that. And yes, you can draw fan art of my OCs. So those are questions that I get constantly, like almost every video that I make. Those are some questions that I get. But also I have them in my About page on my channel, and a lot of YouTubers have that, so feel free to check that out if you want more like in-depth stuff, I guess. And also just check there before asking a question, because it's kind of exhausting reading those comments all over the time. But yeah, anyway, back to the drawing. Oh fuck! God damn! So the outfit that I picked, the only reason I picked it is because it's the last like nice outfit that I wore. It was an outfit that I wore a lot when I was traveling because it was cozy, and New York is a much colder place than Florida. So I also had a little bit of a difficult time with the color scheme. It wasn't too bad. Between the drawing of me and the objects, I didn't want anything to get too crazy. Like my pants, I made closer to the color of like the Nintendo Switch controller just to keep things a little bit more consistent there. I just didn't want the color scheme to be like too crazy. I wanted to keep it as limited as possible, so I did alter the colors like slightly from how they are in real life. Like I made all of the blacks the same, I'm pretty sure, and just minor stuff like that. Like they still look like the objects, but just to make things a little bit more cohesive, that's what I did. When I color my digital art, I always have like 4 main layers. Well, 5 main layers. But the 4 I'm talking about, 2 of them are always on multiply and 2 of them are on luminosity, and these are the shading and the highlight layers. So first, the first multiply layer, I take a color and I use an airbrush, and then I'll just quickly airbrush over some places to get some like really quick cell shading and just to add a little bit more depth to the flat colors before adding in my proper shading and highlights. And I did the same thing for the highlights on the luminosity layer. And normally I keep them all the same color between like the shading and the highlights, both in like the hard ones and the cell shading. I don't know technical terms, and we've been over this, but I usually keep those the same colors, but for this one I actually changed it up a lot. For the shading and the highlights with the airbrush, I believe I used purple, and then I started shading with that more purple color that I used earlier for like the other parts, but it didn't quite look right. And then after playing the hue slidey thing, after playing around with the hues, I thought that the blue one looked best, and so I did that. After playing around with that, I decided that the blue one looked best, and so I just switched the shading to blue there. And then I thought, why not? Let's get crazy. And then I made the highlights like a yellowish orange. I don't normally make all 3 of them different colors. I usually do like 2 different colors at most. I just didn't want the color scheme to be like too crazy. I wanted to keep it as limited as possible, but I don't know. I thought that this one looked really nice with those different colors. And then of course I always finish things with a color overlay on top. It's just that 5th layer I was talking about earlier, clipping all of the layers underneath it. And then I make just some random like gradient of colors, usually in the same hue but with different like shades of that hue. And then I blend it all together, add it to overlay, and play with the opacity, and then boom, that's how I do that. For this one, I believe I did more of like a reddish color. I think it's like slightly more purple, but it's overall like a red color, and that just tied everything together. And it's one of my favorite parts about doing digital art. I don't know of many people that do a color overlay like that in like every drawing. I know a lot of people do it for dramatic lighting effect, but I don't know, I do that for pretty much every single digital piece that I make. I feel like it just adds a lot to my art. And then after that, I just added in some quick white highlights to the eyes and just other places that I feel like it needed to pop a little bit. And then with that, we're pretty much done with drawing me. As for everything else, it was very quick and easy, especially compared to drawing a person. The objects I just kind of colored as I was coloring myself, so there's nothing fancy there, nothing much to say about those. And then for like the squares, I decided to make them more purple. I forgot what color I had them originally, but I don't know, I felt like it just... A cat just screamed. I feel like it just stood out a little bit too much, and so I made it more of that like pastel-y purple. And then instead of writing with like a straight black or whatever, I wrote with a dark purple. And then I added a white outline to all of them. It's not really an outline, it's kind of just like rewriting everything, but like slightly more bold underneath it. It's not a perfect outline and it's not exactly a drop shadow either. I just thought that it added a nice little touch. Definitely took a lot of extra time to make that, but there we go. And then I also added a white outline to the drawing of me and also the objects, again, just to make them stand out a little bit more and not blend in with each other too much. And yeah, there we go. There's me. There I am. I'm here. Thank you so much for watching. I always feel weird talking about myself because I don't know. I'd rather talk about other things, but I hope you found this interesting. I hope that you learned a little bit about me. I hope you learned a little bit about my art. And if you're new here, I hope you like me enough to stick around, I guess. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and if you want to see more art from me, consider subscribing. I post a new video every single Wednesday, and I'm trying to do this thing in 2020 where I'll post like a bonus video whenever I can. So like a second weekly video. There's not a schedule for those, just kind of whenever I can, but I have a lot of cool ideas for like mini-series I can use those for, so I'm excited for you guys to see what I have in store for you. And also, if you want to see more from me, consider following me on Instagram. That is where I post my art. I try to stay active there. Sometimes I fall into a little mini hiatus over there, but I'm trying my hardest. In 2020, I really want to post more art there, so follow me over there and check out that story highlights like I was talking about earlier. And I also have other social media that you can follow me on. I kind of just meme around on there. But yeah, my social media will be on screen now and linked in the description box below, and there will also be videos on screen and in the iCard for you to check out if you're interested. I would definitely appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye.